That's Paul Franz Kaller, Albert and me, drivers by trade of taxis and trams, or a hearse in my case that sported the phrase serious undertakers of funeral arrangements. But one evening a week we were all occupied with another little job we did on the side, for the 5 of us were tunnel diggers, you see, doing our bit for the folks in the East. A natural choice for us, you may think, being in the transport business ourselves. So Thursdays at 8 we'd rendezvous at Bernauer Strasse 32, entering by the cellar door, we'd have a smoke, then change our clothes. We'd help each other down the shaft, get on our knees, then start to graft for the brothers, sisters, cousins and aunts, the poor buggers trapped over there in the East. It was a labour of love, not a bundle of fun, but bound to be worth it when the tunnel was done. Now who could argue with that, I ask? Well, certainly not our better halves, who asked some questions, were told some lies, and were secretly proud of our enterprise. Working like beavers we burrowed beneath, we tunnelled under the border guards' feet. Blood, sweat and tears, arguments too, undermining regimes takes it out of you. And setbacks, yes, we had a few. We took the wrong course using out-of-date maps, then the tunnel got flooded and nearly collapsed. Whilst digging we'd severed the main sewage pipe, we were up to our neck in shit at times. But before you shower us all with praise, it's probably time that we came clean, and being the undertaker, I guess it's my job to spill the dirt on our deeds. Well, yes, we spent some nights together, but truth be told, the earth didn't move. You see, my knees were weak, 3 had bad backs, and Paul suffered from claustrophobic attacks. So daunted by the task we face, we downed our tools on the second date, and closed the hole, covered our tracks, then opened up the homemade schnapps. We made some jokes at our expense, laughed at our incompetence, but we'd dug ourselves into a hole. So before we left we took a vote, and fearing lifelong mockery, we opted for skullduggery. It was in our interest, we agreed, to keep on meeting once a week. Though it wasn't much, our little space, a couple of stools and a wooden crate, we were men of modest needs, and less is more was our belief. Above the steps we'd hung a sign, you are now leaving the world behind. And as we entered we all swore to leave our problems at the door. Call it our bolt hole, a refuge, a den, a safe house shelter for married men, a cellar dive, a gentleman's club, Berlin's best underground pub. Though strictly speaking amateurs, in our ranks were raconteurs, magicians, jugglers, hypnotists, armchair psychotherapist, the spice of life, variety, our subterranean cabaret. Every Thursday 8 till 8 we lost all sense of time and space. So come the end of every year we'd add a chalk mark to the door, and toasting to our fragile health we prayed we'd live to see one more, buying time by feeding our wives scraps of news and progress reports. How many have you smuggled over now from the East? Hard to give precise figures, must be hundreds at least. But November the 9th, 89, the game was up for the war was down. News reports had been coming in that we found barely credible. At 1 a.m. we went upstairs, uncertain what we'd find up there, and no sooner had we stepped outside than a dozen trabbies drove right by. It was like a scene, I'm afraid to say, from one of Dante's Rings of Hell. Champagne kisses, firework hugs, policemen openly smoking drugs. I saw a priest dance with a punk, the two of them obviously pretty drunk, and while they danced the whole night long, 5 guilty parties just looked on, with their backs against the wall, trying to comprehend it all. While we had been sitting underground, the earth had moved beneath our feet, which I suppose just goes to show you can't rely on the status quo to be a firm and steadfast friend, for times will change in the end. And having no plans to meet again, we hugged and said Auf Wiedersehen. So after years spent meeting up, it dawned on me as the sun came up that after darkness comes the light, and nothing stops the wheels of life. Turning round I cycled home, pondering all these great unknowns, and wondered what our place would be in the annals of history. But in a dream it came to me, a luminous epiphany, a total farce and tragedy, our best-selling biography. Seriously now, I'm not being funny, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel.